I welcome all of you to this meeting of the Pondicherry Book Club, which takes place once a month. Usually I choose a book which has either where the story is set in Pondicherry or the writer is a local writer from Pondicherry, either of these. But this time I'm making an exception and I'm going to talk about Chetan Bhagat's book, 11 Rules for Life, because I felt that ultimately the aim of the book club is to encourage people to read. And this is a subject for young people, and it's the young who should cultivate the habit of reading, because slowly over the past decade the reading is becoming something which is quite rare. People are reading on their phones, on their devices, but they are not reading books. Book reading is slowly becoming something more and more rare. So the point of the book club is to encourage people to read books, which is why I thought I would take a book which is really aimed at the very young, those who are in their 20s or 30s, because that's the age group that should read. So, Chetan Bhagat needs no introduction, but still I'm going to introduce him. Chetan Bhagat grew up in Delhi, and he came from a middle-class family. His father was in the army, and but against all odds, he prepared for the IIT examinations and he got an admission into the IIT, so he went to the IIT Delhi, after which he did an MBA at IIM Ahmedabad. These two institutions, the IIT and the IIM, are really the top institutions of India. Somebody who has done both is already an exceptional person. Once he finished these two, both his courses, he got a job with Goldman Sachs, a big bank, after which he got another job offer, which was a bank in Hong Kong. He lived in Hong Kong and he became an investment banker. So really he had reached the top of what most Indians dream of. That kind of career, that kind of path he had taken was the dream path. But at the end of that, he suddenly wanted to write a book. So he took the courage, because if you are a banker, writing a book won't come easily to you. If you have been through IIT and IIM, then you're not a literary person. But he became somebody who wanted to write his book, but in a very simple English, in a very simple way. And his book can be categorized as commercial fiction, but he succeeded in that. I must say that initially his book was rejected by many publishers, but ultimately he did find a publisher who then told him what he should do to make it better, because he asked him, why is my book being rejected by every publisher? So they said it lacks this or it lacks that, and so he was asked to add certain elements, for example humor, and he rewrote his book adding humor and some more elements which would make a book more readable. But still, the publisher asked their own in-house editors to almost rewrite the book, because Chetan Bhagat was a first-time writer and he didn't know very well how to structure the book, how to make it more easy for the reader to understand, etc. So his book was almost rewritten, and once it was published, it became a super hit, a huge success, because it was aimed at that age group, the 20-somethings, and it was an inside view of what IITs. Every young man dreams of going to IIT, but they really don't know what is there inside. And he sort of revealed the inside story. The book was called 5 Point Someone, because he said that every now and then they had to pass these tests for which they got marks out of 10. And he said he never could go beyond 5. 5 point something. His marks were always at 5 point something. So he said, I started thinking of myself as a 5 point someone. My identity was a 5 point someone. So he did ultimately succeed, he did ultimately pass. And so, because he was revealing what was inside the IIT and what goes on in the psychology of all those young men who are basically pushed into these institutions by their fathers and mothers, the pressure of the family is so huge on these young men that it really affects them psychologically. So he was revealing all this, and so it became a super hit. It was reprinted several times. And also Chetan Bhagat, because he was a banker, he understood the commercial aspect of things. He had priced his book at exactly 100 rupees. He said, something that is priced as 100 rupees, people will buy it because even if it is not good, even if they don't enjoy it, they won't feel they wasted their money. Because he says 100 is a kind of, but of course I'm talking about more than 20 years ago, around 20 years ago his book came out. They won't feel that it was a waste. So that book went on to be made into a film, which is the iconic Three Idiots, made by Rajkumar Hirani, with Amir Khan and Kareena Kapoor, and it became a huge hit as well. But it so happened that the people who wrote the screenplay didn't give any credit to Chetan Bhagat. When the film was released and he saw the credits, there was no mention of Chetan Bhagat, even though they had come to ask for his permission before they took the book and made the screenplay themselves. So he then took them to court, saying that you have to mention that this film is based on my book. So they argued, saying that we have changed the story a lot. He said, well, you may have changed the story a lot, but it is based on my story. Otherwise, why would you have come to take permission from me? He won the case, and since then, his future films, in all the other books which were made into films, he participated as a screenwriter already. He was part of it.